Sometimes it's not just a smell. It's something that makes you feel unsure, pulls you away from friends, or makes you avoid going outside. But the truth is, a lot of it can be changed. You just need to know where it's coming from and how to take small, gentle steps to feel fresh and confident again. Let's start with something simple that many people overlook: not drinking enough water every day. As we age, our sense of thirst gets weaker, and our bodies don't always tell us they're thirsty. When we don't drink enough, our kidneys and liver have a harder time flushing out waste, and sometimes that waste ends up leaving our bodies through sweat, and that can carry a stronger, less pleasant smell. It's not about doing anything wrong, it's just how our bodies change over time. I once had a conversation with a sweet woman named Mary, 74, from Tucson, Arizona. She told me she didn't really like drinking plain water. "It just doesn't taste like anything," she said with a shrug. Mary drank tea in the morning and maybe a soda with lunch, but rarely touched water. Over time, she started noticing her skin felt dry, and her daughter gently mentioned that her clothes had a bit of an odd smell, even right after washing. That comment really embarrassed her. She came to me asking if it could be something medical. We did a quick review of her habits, and the first thing that stood out was hydration. We made a plan together, nothing big, just little changes, and within a week or two, she felt fresher, and even said her skin looked better. What often helps in cases like this is starting with just one glass of water in the morning, right after waking up. Then another one with lunch or dinner. Adding a slice of lemon or a few berries makes it a little more fun, and a lot of my patients say that helps them enjoy it more. You don't need to drink a gallon a day. Just a bit more than you're used to can already make a difference. Think of water like a soft breeze. It clears away what doesn't belong and leaves behind a quiet kind of freshness. You deserve to feel that way, clear, light, and fully yourself. Here's another one that might surprise you. Wearing the same clothes for several days in a row, even if they seem clean. I totally get it. When something feels cozy and doesn't look dirty, it's easy to just throw it back on. But our skin releases oils, sweat, and tiny bacteria all the time, even if we're not visibly perspiring. Those particles stick to fabric, especially under the arms or around the neckline, and over time they start to smell. The scent might be subtle at first, but it builds up. And because we get used to our own scent, we don't always notice it. I remember meeting Barbara, 78, from Madison, Wisconsin. She had this favorite blue cardigan she wore almost every day, and I could see why. It was soft, warm, and had sentimental value because it was a gift from her late husband. Barbara was always well put together, but she started noticing that people leaned back a little during conversations. Her granddaughter once whispered, "Grandma, your sweater smells a little funny." That moment really hurt her feelings. When we talked, she admitted she hadn't thought much about it since. She barely ever sweated. But we looked at how clothes can trap body odor, even when you don't notice, and made a gentle routine together to rotate sweaters every other day. She even started spritzing a little lavender water when hanging things in the closet. That small shift made a big difference in how she felt around people. One of the simplest things you can do is alternate outfits every day and let the ones you wore air out overnight. Hanging them outside on a sunny porch or near a window also helps freshen them up between washes. Clothing is like a second skin, and just like our own skin needs to breathe and be cared for, so does what we wear. Little choices, like swapping a sweater every other day, aren't just about hygiene. They're about honoring yourself and how you show up in the world. Now let's talk about something a lot of folks brush off: skipping a quick rinse after even light sweating. You might think, "I didn't work out, I just watered the garden," or "I barely moved around the house, what's the point?" But here's the thing. Sweat doesn't always mean dripping wet. Even a light sweat, especially in warm rooms or after a bit of housework, can mix with natural oils and bacteria on your skin. If not rinsed off, that mixture sits there and becomes a source of body odor, especially in areas like the underarms, under the breasts, and groin where moisture stays trapped longer. Gloria, 76, from Orlando, Florida, is someone I'll never forget. She loved gardening and spent most mornings tending to her plants. It was her joy. But she confessed to me that she often skipped a shower afterward because she didn't feel dirty. Her daughter noticed the smell and thought it might be a health issue. When Gloria came to see me, she was worried it was something serious. We ruled out medical concerns, and I gently explained how even a thin layer of sweat left on the skin can cause odor, especially as the skin changes with age. She started doing a quick rinse after her garden time, not even a full shower, just 5 minutes to wash off the main areas. Within days, she felt fresher and more at ease being around others again. One of the easiest habits to build is rinsing off with lukewarm water after any activity that makes you feel warm or slightly damp. You don't need to scrub hard or use harsh soaps. Just a gentle wash of the underarms, chest, and folds with water, and a mild cleanser can do wonders. Think of it like wiping your glasses. You may not always see the smudges, but when they're gone, everything feels clearer. Giving your body that same fresh start is a way to care for yourself, not just for others. Something else worth paying attention to: eating too much protein without enough balance. Now, don't get me wrong, protein is important, especially for maintaining strength as we age. But when we eat large amounts of meat, eggs, or cheese, and not enough vegetables or fiber, our body has to work harder to break it all down. And during that process, certain byproducts like sulfur compounds are released, and they can lead to stronger body odor or even bad breath. It's not your fault. It's just how digestion works, especially with a slower metabolism in older age. I had a lovely client named Ellen, 72, from Springfield, Missouri. She was trying a low-carb diet she'd seen on TV, mostly meats and cheeses, to keep her energy up. After a few weeks, she noticed her mouth tasted odd, and her husband quietly mentioned her breath had changed. She was brushing regularly, so she didn't understand what was going on. When she came in for a visit, we talked through her meals, and it clicked: too much protein without veggies. I suggested she add leafy greens, fresh herbs, and some fiber to help her body process all that protein more smoothly. She was hesitant at first, but after trying it for a week, she said she felt lighter. Her breath improved, and her husband even noticed she seemed more upbeat. One of the easiest ways to support your digestion and reduce odor is to pair your proteins with fresh greens or lightly cooked veggies. A handful of spinach with your eggs or some steamed broccoli with dinner can help balance things out. Your body is like a garden. It needs more than one type of nourishment to thrive. A little color on your plate goes a long way toward helping you feel fresher, inside and out. Here's another area we don't always talk about openly: oral hygiene. As we age, our mouth changes in ways we may not notice right away. Saliva production often decreases, and that dryness makes it easier for bacteria to stick around. Add in dental work like bridges or dentures, and sometimes little bits of food get trapped without us realizing. That mix of dryness, trapped food, and bacteria, it can lead to persistent bad breath, even if you brush twice a day. It's frustrating, I know, especially when you're doing what you've always done. One patient who really helped me understand this deeply was Grace, 81, from Atlanta, Georgia. She was sharp, stylish, and very social, but she started skipping her weekly card games because she felt embarrassed about her breath. "I brush, I use mouthwash. I don't know what else to do," she told me. When we looked a bit closer, we found the issue. Her dental bridge was catching food in places her toothbrush couldn't reach. We talked about using a soft brush for her tongue and adding gentle rinses after meals. She also started visiting her dentist more regularly for deep cleanings. Within a month, she told me, "I've got my smile back." One of the simplest habits that makes a big difference is rinsing your mouth after every meal, even just with warm water. Using a soft toothbrush to gently clean the tongue and paying attention to dental devices also helps more than most people. Realize, your smile is part of how the world sees your spirit. When your mouth feels fresh, it's easier to speak up, laugh freely, and share your light with others. Small changes bring back big parts of who you are. If even one of these tips made you stop and think, that's already a good start. I'd love to hear which one felt most helpful. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. And if you'd like more simple, caring advice like this, tap the subscribe button and turn on the bell. Just remember, you are not alone. You are stronger than you think. And life, it still has so much beauty to offer, especially when you give yourself the care you truly deserve.